I was going to say, all the agents on my team eventually they want to be luxury agents. It's just the way it goes. Like, hey, George, I don't want to sell these $400,000 and $500,000 houses anymore. I only want to do this. What? And this is selfish for me because I'm running out of advice to give them on that. Like, what advice would you give that agent that it's like, I really only wanted in Arizona, that is luxury is like anything over, probably anything over $1 million, but like 1.2, like that's how, our median's 475, somewhere in that range. So what advice should I give those agents?
I mean, for me, it's like, I'm an example of someone who still does literally every price point. I had a client who purchased the townhouse from me when I first got into the business in 2016. It's a 2-family townhouse. Now they want to rent out the lower level for $3,000 a month rent. And I'm like, they're like, we know you're like a big deal now and you do these luxury high-end things. Like, would you? And I was like, I do every price. First of all, I would do it if I was just me, but I also have a team that can help do this because those small deals can turn into a bigger deal. That tenant who walks in to rent a $3,000 place can turn around next year and buy something. So I think it's just always having the outlook that these smaller deals can turn into something larger. These smaller deals can, put you in touch with someone else as a referral. Like, you just never know. I've done so many small deals that then they're like, oh, well, you did this deal. I also have a referral for like a $2 million property. Like, that's the cool thing about real estate. You just never know. And for me, I don't ever like turning down business. Business is business. Money is money. But I have agents who, same thing. They're like, oh, we only want to do luxury. I'm like, what does that even?
What does that mean?
What does that mean? I'm like, of course, I want to just do luxury too. But like, everyone needs a place to live. Everyone can turn into something larger. So I think just having that expectation that you just never know. This episode is sponsored by Follow Up Boss. And I know you, Justin, and Lindsay both know that I made the switch about a year ago to Follow Up Boss from being in one CRM for the last like 13 years.
I read a stat the other day that 32 of the top 50 teams in the United States use Follow Up Boss already. So, I mean, I guess the proof's in the pudding there.
So whether you have a super team like George or a mini team like me, Follow Up Boss makes it super easy for teams of all sizes to get organized, stay on top of their leads and spheres with less effort, and improve overall performance so you can scale your business.
And thanks to FUB, all of our listeners can double their free trial and get a full 30 days to see how Follow Up Boss can level up your business. And there's no contract necessary, no credit cards required, completely free to give it a go. So visit followupboss.com/inspection period for more details. And thanks, Follow Up Boss, for making this possible.
I think I could relate back then, like, continuously like building your database becomes important because you don't know. Yeah. I have an agent, she single-handedly, she has that same mindset. Like, she would show up to anything, help anybody out, willing to partner with people if it's a little bit out of her area. She did like, I think 76 solo deals. It was a couple of years ago. But she had there was a lead that was a $300,000 land deal, right? Like, what do you want? Sometimes they're easy, but it can be a pain in the booty. That one person turned into 5 commercial deals that, each commercial deal was over $1 million. I think there was a couple $1 million one in there. And so the lead that got passed through 10 people that looked at it and go, I don't want to take this one. I don't want to take this one. And it turns into something cool because you're willing to have a conversation with just about anybody and see if you can serve them. Right. Yeah. And that's what the other thing that strikes me, I wrote down here, is like servant, like you're a servant leader, and you servant to your clients too. And sometimes those ones can be the most fulfilling clients too at the end of the day.
For sure.
Right.
For sure. Like, I just think people appreciate that. And I think it's like, you just told that story. So like telling your team these stories, because they're like, that's not going to happen to me. That's not going to happen. And then I'm like, these things really happen. You really never know. I would hate to turn down any business. I don't think anyone should be in the mindset to just be like, oh, I'm too good for that.
I don't
do
those.
Like,
we do hear that quite a bit.
I know.
Yeah.
I've heard from some luxury agents in the past that like networking is a big part of like really breaking into those environments. Like, do you have any like tricks of the trade that you're willing to share for like networking in those environments? Yeah.
I mean, I think just putting yourself out there in networking in general. but being strategic about where you're going and what you're doing. So I will say, when I first started with Ryan 8 years ago, I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? So I just went to like every single thing I could possibly, like brokers open houses, networking groups for construction people. Like, I just think that's one time that I actually felt burnt out. I was literally going to like random networking events every night, handing out my business cards and then just leaving. And like, no one followed up. I didn't follow up with anyone. Like, there was nothing was happening from it. So I think finding something that you enjoy doing and using like networking around that in some way. Like for me, I love working out. I love volunteering. I love traveling. So like finding something in common with someone and making that, like being more strategic about networking and being consistent with it. Because if you're just going to all these different groups or meeting people, you're not really like forming a relationship. No one really knows who you are. No one really knows what you're doing. You have to be consistent with the follow-up. You have to be consistent with seeing the people. And then also like investing in yourself, like, you know, paying to go to be in a networking group, or paying to join a club where people, you know, who purchase luxury properties would be hanging out. I think you have to think of what's my return on investment if I'm putting myself in these situations. Like Ryan always says, when you're flying somewhere, pay extra to fly first class and make it a thing to meet 3 people in that first class area and keep in contact with them, because that's like, that can always turn into business.
And as a reminder, Inspection Period listeners get a full 30-day trial of FUB. No contract, no credit card required. Just go to followupboss.com/inspection period for more details.